let's go in chronological order. We'll start in Happy Valley between SMU and Penn State. Penn State is an 8.5 point favorite here. Total ticked up a bit from open to 54. A lot of dive bars in State College. Worth checking out. Give a shout out to Sower's Harvest Cafe if you want to get breakfast or lunch and get their pretzels that are there. It's going to be cold, which you would think is advantage Penn State. SMU obviously a team from Texas. This is a game I keep going back and forth on. I've had a bet on every bowl. Well, that's my plan, even if I have to bet like a player prop. I haven't bet anything on this game yet. I think this, where I'm struggling is number one, SMU, they don't really have an efficient rushing attack. Rashard Smith's a very good running back, good out of the backfield, but the offensive line has weaknesses, specifically at center, left tackle. They really just haven't been able to adequately replace the starters from last year. And I think that I don't know if SMU is going to have a ton of success running the ball, but I do think that their back end of their defense, if you can start throwing on them and loosen up the defense, then that's when Smith might have some success running the ball. We saw that with USC, right? USC was able to loosen them up. We saw it with Oregon. Oregon had success moving the ball on Penn State and even Ohio State to some extent. But can Jennings get enough protection? That is, his legs are going to be important here to buy time because I am worried about SMU's offensive line holding up. And then the SMU defense, I do believe in their run defense, which is important against Penn State because, their schedule's soft and we saw Clemson score a bunch of points on them. But they have these are power four guys that most of them are used to be at Miami. Got good safeties too, who can come down and defend against the run as well. Where you have to attack SMU is their corners. Will Ken Aller and more specifically can these receivers win those matchups? Because that's Penn State's weakness on offense and you got to throw in the fact that they have an injury at right tackle, which has weakened their offensive line. So can Penn State's receivers on the outside take advantage of SMU's vulnerable area on their defense? My numbers say Penn State, but I've been lower on SMU than the market all year. Haven't quite gotten to a bet here, so curious to see what you're seeing and thinking.
I want Penn State. I think it's Penn State all the way. I think what's holding me back is why fire on an 8.5 or a 9, right? Why, when we're in this dead zone, why touch it? If I can get an 8, that's great. If not, I don't mind playing 10 leading up to kick. And there's just so much that I see. You mentioned the SMU offensive line. And the thing is you want to compare line yards to rushing success rate and stuff rate, and that will tell you if the offensive line is doing their job. They're not. Their rushing success rate is better than their line yards. It's better than their stuff rate. And that means that Brashard Smith is doing all the work. If you watch the highlight reels of him busting plays, there are defenders, especially Clemson last week or in the ACC championship, where the defenders are in the backfield and he has to juke all over the place to get free. So, the offensive line is, 90th in line yards. Smith, 71 first down runs, 20 explosives. It's all highlight yards. It's all been him. So what you have to do is look at the Penn State D, a 55% success rate against inside zone, but one of the best EPA numbers in the nation. And this I just cannot believe. The Nittany Lions have allowed one of every 20 inside zone attempts to go for an explosive play. And if that's all Brashard Smith is going to run, they're going to have to pivot to another run concept that they're not comfortable with. It's also worth mentioning on this side of the ball, SMU just can't play clean on offense. They're 83rd in offensive momentum killer. That goes to a fact that they're 131st in penalties this season. They can't get out of their own way on offense. When you go to the other side of the ball, it looks even better for Penn State. And I think I went into this wormhole of, is Tyler Warren going to be a factor in this game? Clemson targeted SMU with a tight end 8 times, 5 catches. Virginia hit the tight end like uncharacteristically, 5 targets, 5 catches. Boston College targeted two tight ends 16 times for 12 catches. There's something in the film that is driving teams to hit tight ends against SMU. And what are we going to do with Tyler Warren? Nobody knows how to stop Tyler Warren. So if Kotelnicki will get out of whatever was going on with Ohio State and say, yeah, we need to utilize Tyler Warren here, then let's get it going. And then from a running perspective, outside zone is going to come up with Nick Singleton. We've talked a billion times about how his yards after first contact are increasing game by game. 5.7 yards after first contact against the Ducks in the Big Ten championship. And then finally, the one stat that I just can't get over is Drew Aller ready for the NFL? That answer is yes. And 113 dropbacks with pressure this year, zero turnover worthy plays. And the strength of this SMU defense has been a pass rush. So even if you're getting to Drew Aller, he does not make mistakes. I mean, there's a reason. It's like somebody tweeted at me, I think, Stuck, and they were like, is he going to stay at Penn State? He's like the fourth best odds to be the number one pick. There's no freaking way he's not going to the NFL. So
He
there's
said
a
he's
lot.
staying. He announced he's staying.
Come on. Well, and then finally, SMU is 48th in creating contested catches. I just don't see a problem. And Drew Aller's 15th and on target. I see so many advantages both sides of the ball for Penn State here, and I think we'll go small game James against a team full of Miami transfers. How does Miami do when they play in the Penn State? I'm sorry, when they play in the Pinstripe Bowl? Doesn't usually go very well. I don't think that's a really great angle, but still, it's a narrative that could be floating out there. So Penn State all the way for me. I'm just waiting for it to get out of a dead zone.
And when SMU has really stepped up in class for the past couple of years, it hasn't gone well. Uh, yeah, I mean, I lean Penn State as well. I'll probably be on them in some form or fashion. But yeah, Aller, I'm surprised because even if you don't believe in the guy, he's like a Will Levis. He would go to the combine. He has all the skills, can make all the throws. He's gonna wow all the scouts and get drafted. But yeah, he announced he's coming back. But that's you can make so much more. These got guys like Mateer and Arnold making like 3, 4 million.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy's made he's gonna make 4 million total over his first 4 years of his contract. Now, granted, he was drafted late, but different story with some of the money you can make. All right, let's
I
move on to
would
the
like to
second.
know,
Yeah.
before we get there, I'd like to know the story, like if Aller's going to get paid for a win here to go on and play Boise State. And I'm sorry, he's going to go play Arizona State in the next game in the Fiesta. Like, does his price tag keep increasing game by game? I'm really interested in that with Prabula out here in the portal. But
Yeah, that is worth mentioning. Their backup, though, Prabula is in the portal, just like SMU's backup, Preston Stone, and Ohio State's backup, Devin Brown. But those two will stay with their team. Prabula will not. And they do use him. So they use him in short yardage packages and other things. So I'm sure he just didn't want to risk injury and trying to go get his own bag somewhere else.